And Paul, and welcome back. We're cutting in to the playback here because everything went to crap. The internet died on me. Completely just died. It wasn't OBS, it was just the internet dropped entirely. So I'm going to set this up now so that we can watch it back on the big screen. Play it back because it's the only way that I can think of to actually make this work now that everything's gone to shit on us.
I guess if you got it as a BT source in OBS and you can't get it to start back from where it's up.
Yeah, exactly that. So, yeah, I'm going to pick it up with, let's see, catch him, final TV cut. Harv's having a party in the backgroround, by the way.
And you guys are shuffling your cables as well, so we both got our audio issues. It's alright right now, but...
That was just the film starting again. That's how it sounds.
No, there was actually some shuffling. Never mind.
Oh, okay, okay. But yeah, we're going to cut back into about where we dropped out. Jesus Christ, this is great, isn't it? Thank you, Comcast, by the way, my service provider. So, studio mode, I'm going to go over to the big screen television. We're going to put the main display up. And then we're going to... Geez, you guys got a lot closer to each other, I feel like, didn't you? Like, no, yours... I think
we've been getting friendly.
Alright, let's find where it cut out. We'll pick up from the struggle in the car. No, we know that you saw the kick, right?
Under the shovel. We saw the kick, and the shovel came down.
And the shovel came down
so hard that it broke your internet.
Okay. Well, then we'll pick up from the shovel breaking out. This is great. See, now you have to wait and stay tuned and be, like, subbed and everything in order to make sure that you actually end up getting to see it without it being fucked in the middle by Comcast. Thank you, Internet Service Provider, one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we continue now approximately where we left off.
Mom. Mom.
Confirming 2 victims of tonight's attack, including an officer who's been rushed to hospital in critical condition. Reports from neighbors describe the other victim having regained consciousness on scene, but sustaining serious injuries to his right hand, leaving us all to ask if this is yet another act of violence perpetrated by Sterling City's own vigilante. Sterling PD, of course, has been under and we're back. Harv will probably have to unmute us in a couple of seconds.
I'm back. Yes, I'm here. Wow.
So
Well, first of all, congratulations, you both, because that was fantastic. Especially
Thank
Brandon.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And I have several kind of questions. One that, like, just on little things which caught my attention. When it keeps on cutting back to the vigilante as he's hitting with the hammer repeatedly, I think you cut back to it maybe, what, 3, 4 times, that kind of shot?
at least 3, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any repeated footage? Because it's very much the same shot each time. Did you reuse the same footage at all in that? Or is each one kind of actually chronologically?
I don't think we reused the same footage. I know when we had Phil, the actor, do that take, we probably pushed him for like 2 minutes to just keep hammering and letting loose and like getting raw and getting into it. So we had a lot of footage to pick from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't any
that was gonna be-
reproductions there. He was just given so many different. In fact, like mostly with Phil's footage, Phil Devon. His footage was like my problem as an editor was that he kept doing it with like a subtly different like emotional context, and every single one of them was amazing. So I kept having to like choose whether or not to go with the one where there's a little bit of sadness in the back, you know, just sort of subtext, or if there's just pure out fucking rage, or if the, you know, it was like every scene that I had of him where there were multiple cuts, it was like, oh, Phil, you're so good. I don't know which of these to choose. So that was us sitting here trying to edit the thing together and decide, so which of these incredible performances do we use?
Right.
Yeah. So my next kind of question, I think, is that you said before we watched it that the way you approached directing a fight scene was to block it out and to chronologically move through those blocks and shoot everything you can, everything you need to. You were there for 12 hours, right? You said. Was there any point where you had to kind of chronologically go back in the fight scene to redo anything? Did you clean up the blood and have to do it again?
Nope. We never had to go back. I will say for time constraints, there was like an entire block of the fight that was cut that never actually got filmed. And so Phil and Justin, the 2 actors, and myself had to kind of reconfigure how we went from, you know, block F to block H or something. But no, nothing had to be gone back and redone. I mean, there were takes where we probably lost 45 minutes to an hour just trying to get one particular thing right so that we could move on.
Yeah, and that shot with the carry shot to the car, where, you know, Phil's lifted up by his neck, which is actually, of course, he's like scissoring the guy. I mean, it's just brilliant when you get to watch this stuff and figure out how it's going. But, you know, Phil's supporting his own weight with his legs around the dude, but he's still like acting like, ah. That shot, was that a one and done?
That was. We had Gloria Kohler, who was on set for that night only, one of the like script supervisors. Her and I had kind of worked through the physical movement of how to do that shot, and that's one of the few shots where I'm actually behind the camera. we rehearsed that shot independently of the actors several times and were able to nail it in one take. And we knew that would be a troublesome shot, so the fact that we got it done quickly was awesome.
Yeah, that's impressive that was a one time just, nail it. And also because, you're slamming a person down on the hood of a car.
Right.
So you don't want to slam them down. Like, the one time's probably going to dent the car. It ain't going to get any better from there. Is
Right.
how that's going to go.
And Phil was, willing to take the bump, but he said he didn't want to take it several times.
Because it was his car.
Yes, it was his car and his body.
He cared less about his body. It was just the bodywork of his car that was. The entire thing was absolutely beautiful as well, I want to say. I mean, a lot of that comes down to the cameras and the shots you were getting, but I know that the two of you must have spent a lot of time on color grading.
Yeah. There was... That was just one day.
That was one...
It was one 12, 13-hour day with both of us sitting here making the choices and going through. At which point, like, it's funny because we started out the day and I'm like, okay, here's the things that I'm going to use for this. Here are the tools. All right, so this is how I think we got to do, because it's really difficult to have people well lit on scene and, for your footage, and it's supposed to be at night. So the premise behind the lighting was that on Brian's side of the car, there's meant to be like the orange light of sort of just street lights, and then on Ray's side of the car, it's just the blue light of night and moon and that kind of a thing. So trying to take the footage and get it to where it like is convincingly dark, even though they were being blasted with light from multiple directions in order to get it bright enough for the scene to work, was a real thing. And I remember getting to like the end of our maybe about hour 11 of our session of color work and going back to the beginning because we thought we were done and watching it and going, Brandon, how did you let me do this? This is disgusting. This doesn't match that, the other thing. And it's because, you start out the day and you're doing one thing and then you get better at it and better at it and better at it. And then by the end, it's like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. I know what I want. And then you go back to the beginning and go, who the fuck did this? Fire this person.
Wow.
But yeah, we were fortunate to have, Greg Aubrey did the cinematography as well as the lighting, another person pulling, double, triple, quadruple duty in order to get this thing done. And Greg is, if you've ever watched my live streams, then you have heard this man and that man, Greg Aubrey, in Superbomb, playing Stick It to the Man, which is basically my favorite thing from them in that era, that of course neither of them, they're like, we did that better, that was a bad recording. Like, that's no, that's the one that goes to the radio. But that's how creatives are. Like, no, we had a better version of it later. But yeah, Greg is professional photographer, and having him bring out the lights, he ordered like a giant, what is it, like a phosphorescent or something like that, something that's like old school technology that kicks out an intense amount of light all the wavelengths, ordered that for the shoot, used that, and then at some point during the shoot, what happened?
So the fourth night of filming, we had to catch all the exterior shots of the film. Cops, exteriors of the cops sitting in the car, Brian falling outside, some other exteriors, and it was cold and raining and windy, and the wind took the light down and it blew up. I think it still works. I think just the bulb blew. Yeah, and it was just a tiring, fourth night of filming, final night, and ultimately 80 to 90% of that footage was not even usable. We had to schedule a fifth night several months later after the winter.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is shot in 2 different years, and then put together.
Yes.
It looks like Greg is in the chat right now. Hello to Greg.
Greg.
Big incandescence. That's what it was. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, thank you, Mike Creations, for subbing over here. You're now like supporting us from 9 different angles at once. All of the holes are plugged.
Hi, Greg.
Hello, Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, having someone who knows photography, lighting, and knows how to set things up, in the color work that was done, because if you look at, like, the original, and by the way, Greg, I'm going to send you the original. You asked over an email if I could take out the color work. I did that just yesterday, so I'm going to send you that so you can have a look at it and be able to play with it yourself. But, like, the color work that we started with, I feel like the camera's white balance was very red-shifted kind of thing. But what we found out in editing is that white balance just doesn't really fucking matter. Because at the end of the day, you can either do the white balance in the camera or you do the white balance in the editing bay. And just having the right lights, the right places, once you pull it where you want it, it gave us all of the things that we wanted to. And I remember we were sitting here doing the final color work. And we got to a certain point, you just turned to me and you're like, holy shit, it's a film now. Like, the footage that we had before, until you do that color grading, until you, like, pull things down and sharpen them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've been through that experience, because I'd always heard of color grading. I didn't really know what it was until I ever stumbled across a tutorial or something, but I was making this music video. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to use color grading. And did it. And just like the first filter I chose at random. And oh my god, it looks like a film. Jesus. Oh, I know what else this needs. And then just black bars, top and bottom, to make it wide angle.
Yes.
That was...
Less is more.
Yes.
That was your latest music video, right? Is it the...
Yes.
No, have you done one since?
Well, music
I
video
can't
is
figure out the
is
chronology.
Yeah, no, so I've done some musical stuff since, but this is the Imagine Dragons parody bug fixer, rather
Yeah.
than...
And I remember
Wait,
saying
what
to
did
you
they-
about that one, too. Like, there's a certain scene where there's, like, a door with a bunch of light coming through it, and either you're in the door or
yeah.
something like that. And I said to you, oh, wow, that looked really good. How did you, like, get the... So did you do a cropping, like a masking thing? So you just had black on one side, and then you faded it into the room? And your response was,
no.
no, it was just really dark. It's just a high
Well,
contrast
yeah, it was-
scene.
It was literally, just the hallway lights were pretty bright in that apartment. And so I think the camera's exposure just automatically adjusted down when I aimed at the hallway. And I kind of looked at it, I was like, oh, wow, everything else is black. That's perfect framing. Like, that looks really good. Yeah, only got to use that kind of extreme lighting right at the very end of the video. I didn't have real use for it for the actual shoot, but yeah.
How does our audio sound right now, too? I just wanted to check in. We're still good?
I think you're getting a little bit of the crackling with the cables moving. I don't know. It's not
hang
sounding
on.
too bad to me right now.
I'm going to mute everything for everyone. So my lips are... back. Okay, we got
Yeah,
it back.
you got it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And I actually wanted
mentioning
to...
the audio.
Yeah.
Just quickly, halfway through, I noticed the sound of the party happening outside, and so I put a noise gate onto my audio. Hopefully, it's not clipping too much, is it? while I'm
Yeah,
talking?
I heard when you turned that on, made a,
Yep.
big difference. Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize for all of the noise up until that point.
Yeah, your flat just seems to want to party whenever we're doing a show, which is, it's not good, because it
Not even
means
just
none
whenever.
of them have tuned into the Harvin Pawn show. It's fucked up. They live with you, and they just don't care.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Brandon, though, before we get too far away from the film, I wanted to ask, like, what's going on there? Because, like, this film there's so much that's, like, in subtext, and it kind of feels like the middle of a story that we're coming into a little bit, and there's a lot of things that are there, but necessarily the pieces haven't all connected. And I know from our premiere, as well as from some of the comments in chat, that it's like, what was going on there? So I just wanted to ask, like, how... I wanted to give you a chance to sort of put this in the framework.
Sure.
Because it isn't just a standalone thing necessarily.
Correct. I will preface that by saying, especially in the dialogue between the cops and the radio conversation at the beginning, multiple viewings is going to help kind of... The information's coming at you super fast. Multiple viewings will help kind of piece together some of the ideas, which might not be what everybody in 2019 wants, but there it is.
And all you have to do, too, is just go back to the one live stream and watch it until it cuts out, and then come back in and go about a minute and a half into the next live when Comcast doesn't fuck up.
But beyond that, yes. So this short film is serving as what I guess the industry calls a proof of concept, meaning that it's not just a self-contained story told over 14 minutes. This is meant to show producers, the industry, whoever, that there's a working story here. There's a bigger world. There's more to this both before and after the events of what we chose to show you in this 14 minutes. The 14 minutes kind of, in the bigger story, the way it's worked out thus far on paper, this is kind of the middle, the Act 2 turning point, so to speak. It's in initial early forms, I had thought about feature film. Roy had thought about TV series, and the idea we kind of landed on was to shop this as a potential miniseries, 8 to 12 episodes, whatever the industry would kind of warrant.
Depending on whether or not you can make room with Scorsese on Netflix, whether or not they can carve you out a spot.
Right. Streaming and series and all of those things are doing very well in this day and age. So the end goal would be, sure, a 12-episode self-contained mini-series on any streaming service. I'll take any of them. Just cut me a check. But yes, so that is the plan as it goes out to festivals. The press kit that will be attached to the film makes that publicly known to the festival reviewers, judges, whatnot. There's more to this.
How much of that wider story do you have written out, planned out?
The planning is certainly still in the works. There is a lot more going on with the police department, the relationship between the two cops and the department, the year-long vigilante quest. There's also a big court trial that's kind of got this particular police department under national scrutiny. It's got them in the face of the media. Gloria, who was your Harvey, was your antagonist.
Yes, and she did antagonize me.
In the radio bit.
And I should mention also that Greg Aubrey, in addition to being cinematographer and lighting, was also the voice of our sort of NPR
Yes.
radio host, breaking in, trying to cut you off, Harv, as you were launching into, "Shut up, I'm talking."
Yes.
Brandon, Paul told me that you guys had a nice good laugh trying to piece together the different parts of our voice acting.
We absolutely enjoyed it. But yes, Gloria's character is a news reporter, or a journalist rather, who has a bigger role in the series. It's still very much being fleshed out. There's been some pen put to paper, but it's by no means like packaged and ready to go or be sold or whatever.
And didn't you just have, or are you having shortly, like a writing session with someone you want to bring in?
Last night. Just last night, I had the first.
Hot off the presses.
Yeah, the first of what will undoubtedly be many various sessions throughout the winter with Phil, who played the vigilante, and his friend Mark, who has never written for film but writes, and he's got the kind of brain that you're going to get good ideas out. So I think between the three of them and Roy, who has been a long time brain juice person, I think between the four of us, we'll pump out a pretty decent story eventually.
Which,
So,
you know,
just
yeah.
to reiterate, if you enjoyed that and you want to support Brandon Porn Dog in a Bathtub Productions, what are you guys called? Dog in a Bathtub
Yep, Dog in a Bathtub Productions.
Productions. You can support directly, paypal.me/dog in a bathtub.
Yes.
And just
Thank you.
don't look it up on Urban Dictionary. Or if you do, actually, because a couple of links were posted, and the second link is wholesome. So the second link is fine. It literally is just, hey, it's a dog in a bathtub.
You know, it's like you got a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, and it's like trying to keep a dog in a bathtub, y'all. Yes, sir.
So there you go. That was that. Well, maybe then this is very late for us to have an actual break, but maybe we have a quick break.
Yeah, and you know, at the beginning of this, Harp was like, I'm feeling a little bit tired today. So
I've perked up. Watching good film has made me, given me the energy.
Yeah, because I'm just shocked that we've actually managed to talk basically about the film and our history the entire time and haven't even gotten into what we think of Michael Bay or, you know, Martin Scorsese's, like, anti-Marvel shit or, you know, like, there's so much to talk about, not to mention, you know, Harvey, who has experienced the realm of acting as well. As you can see him there, pretending like he has no idea what I'm talking about right now. This is all like things that I figured we'd get around to, but Christ, we filled an hour and a half with this shit.
Time to stop talking about this film.
That was actually my cheer. After the premiere, we all went out to the bar. Obviously, you know me.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know me. So we all went out to the bar, and I raised a glass. They hadn't even brought us our beers yet. I raised like water that I'd poured for everyone out of the pitcher and said, "To tomorrow having nothing to do with catch him whilst beneath he strays." Except I didn't, because that's a new thing. But.
Whilst beneath he strays. That's the most tenuous one you've come up with yet.
So yeah, all right.
Okay, so I suggest that let's go to a 5-minute break. Yeah.
All right.
Then...
Where do I click for that again? Oh, it's that one. All right.
When we come back, we can maybe have a very quick chat about voice acting and what working with voice actors is like and what it's like to do voice acting. And kind of just focus on that, have a quick little poke at that, and then that'll be the end of the show.
Sounds like a plan to me. 5 minutes, people. Go grab a pee or take a beer. We're not out. I clicked all the wrong buttons. It keeps moving shit when I press the buttons. Where's the button? Houston! There you go. Sorry about that.
Please listen carefully.
Hello, I am the Ronin Born.
And I am Harvey, and we are joined by
Brandon.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Too.
Hey.
We all messed it up. Brilliant! All right, let's jump into it.
voice acting.
Yes, so we've been talking about our short film Catch 'Em When He Strays, and our short film Catch 'Em When He Strays actually involved sort of multiple radio plays. You know, the whole film opens up with a radio play in which Harv was our like leading, I mean, the person who's moving things along and setting the tone and sort of filling in the backstory for the viewer as well. And
Yeah, I didn't realize that my voice was literally going to be the first voice that came on.
neither did we, honestly. Like I don't even remember exactly how that was written, who was going to start out, but we got the things together, we started piecing it together. That whole skit actually involved taking cuts from like people saying things that weren't in the script, like between the scenes and stuff, you know. Gloria was like said, yeah, okay, you know, stuff like that. And just by putting them into the right spot where you're like shouting at her about something and just putting her completely like tonally neutral. Yeah, and she was just tonally neutral when she was saying that because it was between takes. It was just like, okay. But, you know, when you put it right after someone told you to shut up, it suddenly feels like they're saying, okay. Yeah.
And that shut up was completely off script as well. It was.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
I was just trying to do it over and over and over to get the right tone, and yeah, just
yeah.
ad-libbed a
Harv
little
gave
bit.
us
I was
like
happy with that
7 to 9 is what I'm gonna say. 7 to 9 different like versions of the take because I like wrote out a sort of direction kind of. So here's your character. Here's the things. You know, give us one where you're like this, one where you're like that, one where you're like that, and play with it. And what we got back turned out to be what you were joking with. Turned out to be the final cut because it worked so well once we layered in all this other stuff.
I mean, it's one thing I've always found with voice acting. Like we've kind of had this discussion between the two of us recently, but definitely when you're acting stuff you've written yourself, you feel much more kind of less wooden, a little bit more, you know, in the flow of it, and don't sound quite as robotic or stiff. But even if you haven't written something yourself, just trying to get the intent and then saying whatever is a good way to also accomplish that same thing. Because I think there's definitely something, at least to the person who's actually doing the recording, it's so obvious when something feels scripted. It might be a kind of symptom of being familiar with the script and kind of knowing what the script says, and so it all feels a bit predictable maybe. But yeah, ad-libbing off of it and just being like, to date, shut up, listen to me. To date, 4 people. So, yeah, those
and
little
actually,
bits. That was
here's
nice.
a little like tip that I can share from Harvey that I don't know if you recognize as a tip or not, but I gave like direction notes in the email saying you want to give this a try, and he like read in his first take, read back the email notes like in the character. And it was like, that is a really good way to warm up. Like, give me my notes, and then as you go, and it's like, maybe in one line I'm saying, so for one of the takes, try and give us one that's like, here's your, motivation, you're reading that, and then it gets to the other one, and it's like, and then I want one from you that's really fucking angry, and he's like, and then I want one from you that's like, really fucking angry. Just a good
I remember
little tip.
that. I hadn't. That had gone completely from my mind since recording that. I've never done that before or since. But yeah, so maybe that is something that every voice actor should do. I remember
Yeah,
doing
take
it.
the notes and read the notes in the character just to sort of warm yourself up and then jump in. I thought that it worked really well for you. We were sitting here trying to figure out, again, which of the 7 or 9 takes that we had was going to be the one. And then, like, the whole shut up thing, we were just sitting here laughing, and then I was like, wait a second. So, if Greg, our, radio host comes in like right after that and tries to interrupt him. Ooh, could I cut that together? And I'm like, this works. This works.
I've had that same experience on the other side of the microphone, I suppose, as it were. I'm currently in the process of editing together a big audio project with perspectives on a Dungeons and Dragons session that I played. I went round each player individually and kind of talked through what happened and got them to record their perspective. And now I'm interweaving all those different perspectives together into one narrative. And there have been some times where it's like someone starts talking about something and I go, that's not quite. And then 2 hours later, I'm editing and I go, wait, didn't that person say something? That would have been perfect for this bit. So just grab this audio clip and take it 2 hours later into the process. Just some out of context, like, oh yeah, I can't believe he went and did that. And just completely use it for a different went and did a thing.
So Harv has become a reality television producer at this point, where you take a clip from what somebody said, completely out of context, shove it in there, and then they're calling this person a bitch instead of someone else.
I'm just creating drama everywhere I go.
That's actually, but that is like, Brandon and I have found ourselves again and again in that position making short films. Like, I'm Going to Break Your Heart is just this, like, it has French film smell all over it. And then it gets into this long, drawn-out argument where there wasn't really, like, a hard and fast script.
I should preface this by saying it has American emo kid trying to do French film smell all over.
Well, hang on. It has a guy smoking a cigarette, right?
Yes, there is a
cigarette.
cigarette.
It's French, yeah.
And it's blue lit, and there's snow on the ground and stuff. It's, other than the snow on the ground, I don't know how much snow France gets.
The same.
Oh, an amount? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, in that one, there was no, like, hard and fast script for either of these actors. It was just like, here's the scenario, here's what's going on in your lives right now, and, argue. And we sat here for hours upon hours upon hours, carving together from all of these different takes and all of these different conversations, one conversation that had never occurred and had never nearly occurred. It was like one sentence from here and then a take from 40 minutes later and then a take from 20 minutes before, and just piece this thing together. And so while we were like cutting this one together, I'm turning to Brandon and saying, why do we always find ourselves cutting together arguments between men and women that never actually happened and making them worse? What is sort of like the underlying, there's something psychologically to this process that we keep finding ourselves within.
Both of you clearly have very good experience with arguments between men and women.
Oh, nothing but the best. Loved every one of them.
Valuable. Yeah, but just chalk whenever you next find yourself in an argument with one of your significant other.
A lover.
Just think like, I really hate that we're fighting right now, but this is great resource for my future writings.
Absolutely.
This is kind of the plot of I Am Going to Break Your Heart.
Yes.
There's definitely that in the subtext of that one.
Oh yeah, that relationship at the time was not going well.
I know we're supposed to be talking about voice acting, but and it's fine if you don't want to talk about this, but I think Roy mentioned a dog at some point. There was a dog involved. Was that in that, or was that something else?
No, that is Celine. That must be.
What? I don't know.
Oh, he doesn't
Sure.
remember this.
The last short film, we just shot it a little over a month ago. It's called Celine. The basic premise, I act in it, and it plays me kidnapping or dog napping my girlfriend's dog. Was originally intended to feature the real dog, but in the process of getting ready to film, said girlfriend and I broke up, and she took the dog, so that dog's not in it.
Yeah, the actual script of that film sort of portends what happened.
Yes, foreshadowing.
And it was written when?
It was written the beginning of this year when I thought things were going swimmingly.
And then she stole your dog.
Yes.
The main character with the most
boy.
lines, the dog. No. But yeah, that one will actually... Go ahead.
Let's segue this back into voice acting for the last 10 minutes of the show. What has your experience been with kind of voice acting or working with voice actors, Brandon? And obviously, Paul, you've done voice acting yourself and worked with voice actors. Do you have any particular tips that you might give to directors or scriptwriters to get the best out of a performance? Do you think is there much there that you have to think about?
I'm gonna direct this to Roy. He dealt with pretty much all the voice actors and the ADR for Ketchum, so he can handle this question.
Got it. Yeah, that was the thing, was just like getting in the space and just giving people, getting them into the headspace is all that there is to it. It just is directing, but really just being willing to get in there and push people to go left or go right and push them to the outer reaches of like what it actually calls for, and then maybe bring them back and just playing with it. Because like voice acting is that much harder because you're not in the situation, you're not in the scenario, you're not looking at or experiencing what you're supposed to be conveying on film. So, helping someone get into that place and, asking them to imagine and helping them work it out, and maybe even like kind of tricking them into doing what you want them to do by maybe like once you get some experience with the person who's in the chair or in front of the mic, you can sort of see where they're seeing that the role is, and then know that to them what you need to say is, turn it up to 250%. Because for you 250% is just where you wanted it, but that's where they're starting with from the character. But yeah, I think in voice acting, like, direction is really important. You have to like give somebody a strong sense of their subtext, their motivation, what's going on right now, and then just, let them play with it until you get what you want. And along those notes, I know that you, Harv, have been very self-deprecating about some voice acting roles that you've done in the past, and whenever you started down that path, I always say, yeah, but look at the shit that you like wrote yourself, and like that you knew what you wanted out of the character and knew what you wanted out of the role. I keep coming back to the AI that's being trained to replace the people in the call center thing, and you're playing like all of the characters there. I think you're playing, the AI that's replacing you and stuff, and it's just brilliant. It's a great radio play. It's great voice acting work.
The actual engineer on call to the AI and his friend Dave or someone behind him in the call center, where are you literally like, okay, I want to voice someone who's physically elsewhere in the scene. All right, I'm gonna stand over here. What do you want?
Yep.
Was that loud enough over the
Yes,
noise
it
gate?
was. Yes, it was. I was
Yeah.
worried for a second. It kicked it.
I've had that's been a learning experience. Just one of the most difficult things with voice acting, I think, is being loud without like blowing out the mic or without just having it sound, not right at all. The first kind of actual voice acting, I think maybe not the first, but some of the earliest stuff I tried to do was for a Skyrim mod where Neuronix, I think
Oh,
his name was,
yeah.
he made a new follower in Skyrim, which was me. And so I did all the voice acting for it. And that includes combat lines where, whatever situation I'm in, from being attacked or attacking something, you've got to have some anger. You've got to have some rah, ooh, ah lines. And I had to experiment really with having the microphone here and trying to sound angry but without shouting. And then all the way to being on the opposite side of the room so that I could shout. But I couldn't use any of that stuff because you can really tell when the origin of the voice is on the opposite side of the room. So you'd be in the game standing right next to them, and it would sound like their voice was coming from, 2 meters away. So all that is really, really tricky. And I am very amateur at all of it. I know self-deprecation is not the in thing, as we've said already. But yeah, I'm constantly learning, and voice acting is one of those things that I've said this to you, which kind of prompted the conversation that you've already alluded to, is that I've always felt that my voice is the strong part of my voice acting, and my
Is
acting
my
is the weak part.
passport verify me? It's a reference to Sneakers. It's an old movie. Old movie.
Okay.
My voice is my passport. Verify me.
Oh, wait, I recognize that. I don't think I've seen the movie, though.
Well, you have
I must
to.
have
It's
seen
like the
things that
first
parodied it.
brilliant hackers movie ever.
I do know that line, yeah. Anyway, you've derailed me now. What was I saying?
I don't know. I just wanted
right,
to
yeah,
interject
so
my thing. Now I'm done. Carry on.
Isn't that line an uplink? Maybe that's where it's from, Sir Emo Chappington in chat.
Oh,
Maybe
so
that's
there's
why I've
like
heard
and it references the see the cultural reference hole. It go deep.
Yeah. But yes, so what I was saying, I think, even though my mind is gone now. What was it? Oh, right, voice acting. I've always felt like I have the voice, but the acting part has always been the most difficult thing. So I've generally, most of my kind of career, if you could call it that, has been going for narration or voice-over, which I've always thought of as being the voice acting without the acting, because I'm just telling you some information about our product and have a look at how amazing our product is, and so on.
Well, and that's a big part of it too. Like for voice acting is even just I did the voice for obviously like the last news person at as the credits roll and catch him there, and you know I started out doing what I knew like needed to be done, which was a subdued, today on the highway something came in. It was very subdued. It was very like natural and normal. Police are reporting now that there's that kind of a thing. And then I tried, the proper like today here on the news. I went too far for it, trying to do like the news reporter thing. And a big thing about
Yeah.
voice acting, especially if it's just going to be like heard and not seen, is that you can't, like, you almost have to try to not try. Because if you're like trying to do a voice, it's probably not going to work out. Like, there are people who are paid to try and do fake voices and stuff, but if you're not one of those people who can do like a whole bunch of different ranges and things like that and different characters, and if it's not a cartoon that you're voicing, if it's supposed to be an actual human being, you basically have to just be natural and try and imagine that you are the person. You are in that space. You are that person. So, like, when I finally got the good take out of myself for that outro,
It was the
I was
more subdued one.
yeah, I was like imagining that I was the news anchor who reads this shit every day, This is just another fucking thing. I'm just reading off of, yep. And the grocery list for tonight is rutabaga coming in after chickpeas. Don't forget to pick up the milk or else your wife is going to be angry with you. But it's just like being bored helps sell that like news voice, because it shouldn't be that, you shouldn't be like, like if you were actually really in that, position as a news anchor and you always had that energy, you just burn out after a couple of minutes. The second week it'd be like, ah. And that's why
it's always enjoyable for me watching like the news here, and it might be a bit different. I know you guys have got a lot of different news channels, and some of them are a bit more cartoony than others. Let's say.
It's true.
But it's always interesting watching the BBC news anchors and how they try and tone what they're saying, because they essentially have to adopt a very
London
professional
but
know. Sympathetic, and just kind of like it's not the accent, but it's the tone where 3 people today have died in a car crash as a result of the extra rainfall on the M3. We'll be bringing you further updates on this. For now, we're going to go to our, where it's not like, well, 3 people have just died, and well, what a bad day for those people. Condolences to their families.
I like that idea of like, today 3 people were killed in an auto accident, and we'll have more on that at 11. But for today, a dog gets a home. Let's look at this story over in the West Side, where an abandoned puppy found their way back after and then after that, the people who died will, condolences.
Yeah, I've yet
now
to
to
see
the
a show
puppy.
which does it like that. Probably with good reason.
And now for the lighter side of sports, Sister Macy to check. So, Harv, Greg had a good idea in chat that Brandon and I were both looking at, which was, since the video like broke in the middle, what if we just went out on rolling the thing again in full? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll turn
so.
it on. I'll walk away. A couple hours from now, I'll remember to come back, turn the stream off.
I think it's such a shame that
Remember to turn your webcam off.
On the first public, kind of showing of this to the wider audience, that it's been cut across 2 different streams now. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile rolling it again, and that'll be a good way for us to end off.
Yeah, so I figure what I'll do is I'll roll the credits, because our credits are a way of saying thank you to our supporters on Patreon and here on Twitch with the subs and the cheers and the follows and whatnot. So we'll roll the credits, and for those of you who know better, or who have been told better by Brandon where to find it in the VOD, the uncut version of the thing after the credits, we will then roll the, catch him whilst beneath atop he strays.
So many names.
Catch him whenever he happens to go for a walk in an area that is not this area.
Yes.
I want to point out as well, we are on next week, same time. I don't think we're going to move to an earlier time slot, are we? It's going to be 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern
4
time.
p.m. in the Eastern. I'm
we'll stick with
really
that.
confused right now because I'm looking through Streamlabs trying to find the thing that I usually click, but it's in the wrong size, so I don't... Ah, there it is. All right. We're set for the outro.
What I wanted to say was that we're about to show Twitch subs and cheers and patrons and whatnot on the screen and the credits at the end of the show. But if you would like to vote to help us determine what topic we should discuss next, then polls don't close until Saturday. So you've got until Saturday to become a Twitch subscriber or a patron over at patreon.com/harvandporn. And you can vote on the 4 different discussion options we've got up in the straw poll and have your say, be the tiebreaker. Because currently it's tied, I think, on the different ones.
Ooh.
Oh, is it?
Ooh, what's
So,
the tie?
Unique opportunity for you to break that tie. So go do that. And otherwise, I think most of all, just thanks so much, Brandon, for coming on the show. It's been awesome having you here.
Thank you guys. Thank you both for having me. This has been... You popped my live stream cherry, and I couldn't have pictured two more handsome men to do it. So thank you.
Somebody quote that for
This
the
has
film
been a
review
hell of a
as well.
three-way.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the credits and then the film. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Have born, have born, have and born and 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 have and born. Have and born.
Okay, so here's what. Let me tell you what happened.
Is not a hero.
I'm not saying he's
To date,
a hero.
14 men and 1 woman have been assaulted and hospitalized.
All right.
Most of them
Okay.
with life-altering injuries. I don't know how you can possibly
I'm
even
not saying he's a hero.
Oh,
These
come
attacks have been heinous, but it must be acknowledged that every one of these so-called victims has a record of
You are
causing
talking
physical
about
violence on others. I
anarchy.
mean, you have to see
So
the
so
irony
these
in
attacks
it.
are justified?
I'm not saying
How can
that.
anyone even consider
I'm
justifying?
not saying that either, but the ineffectiveness of our current criminal justice system
No,
is
this
worthy
is
of at
not
least a
justice.
conversation.
Shut up. Listen to me.
Okay.
Let me
This
stop you
man
right there,
has
Mr.
taken it
Austin.
upon himself to punish people who have already served the sentence that society
Hold on.
deems
For those of you just
appropriate
tuning in, my guests are Sterling City's District Attorney, Elliot Austin, and journalist for the Sterling Press, Zoe Anderson. We're discussing the attacks perpetrated against civilians of Sterling County over the past 11 months.
How do they know this shit? You know what I think?
There's some motherfucking rat in the department. Do you know what the fuck that means? That means some motherfucker.
Hello? Come in.
Yeah, still here. Still waiting. Some prick in blues is going behind the chief. Disrespecting the badge, you know? Disrespecting me. Disrespecting you. You probably got somewhere better to be, right? What time is it?
Almost midnight.
Yeah, my point exactly. You could have been doing whatever weird shit you do when you ain't on the job. But instead, here you are listening to me run my fucking mouth. These lips should be wrapped around a pair of titties. But no. No titties, just this fucking sandwich. These pricks really have some nerve messing with my time. You think this prick's even gonna show?
Who knows?
Probably a dead lead. Some old lady sees a black dude strolling through her neighborhood, so he must be a fucking crook. Bet you get that all the time.
Guess I always thought reconnects and went on the phone.
Fuck!
So a friend took me to this bar, tried to help me through it. He helped me realize I was too heavy alone. I found myself repeating to him, I didn't think you'd actually do it. So you got married. Bet you get carried you to the door, and you wrote to tell me that you can't love you anymore. Just 'cause I don't get you, don't mean I'll forget you.
Get you one day.
Just 'cause I don't get you.
Here's him. I like to get a few licks in. Teach him some manners. Sure, the chief wouldn't mind.
You should use a napkin.
What?
And wear a watch.
That's what phones are for. Hell, I should record this. We're gonna be heroes. It'd only be right to let him rough up the target, though. Fucking wife beater.
Yeah, man.
Don't hit them unless they ask for it, you know?
Sure isn't it?
What's your take on this prick anyways? Why's it cut their hands off?
Policeman.
I got 200 right on him being some religious nut. Cutting off dudes' jerking hands. You're a social fucking butterfly, Ray. You know, Tony was pissed we got this assignment. Said he would have wrote a book and sold it to movie studios. Maybe we'll go on talk shows.
I doubt that.
Yeah, you don't really have that, what's the word, charisma. Best leave all the talking to me. Just think of all the tale, man. Heroes.
Aren't you engaged?
Just 'cause I don't get you.
A man shouldn't have to ask for some rural attention, that's all I'm saying. Makes a man feel like a man, you know? Hashtag me too. Damn. Oh, fuck, there he is. Let's go.
Not yet. Let me get inside first.
Right. He'll be cornered. Holy shit, it's really him. Holy mother.
You need to calm down. If you go in there for raging hard on, you won't be walking out.
You nervous? Maybe. You're the rat. Yeah? I mean, you've been with the Force for what? 10 years or something? Nobody knows a thing about you. There's only two types of people that keep themselves the way you do. Perverts. Spies. You a pervert?
You better have some hard evidence if you want to make accusations.
Just messing with you, man. Don't get testy. God, I'm amped up. We're putting that asshole on the disability list tonight.
Get your ass in check. We're bringing him in alive and unharmed.
What the fuck?
I'm going in.
Wait!
The fuck do you want?
Your hand. It's locked.
Holy shit.
What's going on?
They're about to fuck each other up. Over some firearms.
Call for backup.
Radio's in the car.
You're certain with him. Go get it.
No, man, we got this. There's another door around back.
Go check it out. I'll cover this side.
Fuck. That's right. Go to sleep, bitch.
Fuck, too. Oh, for backup. No way, man. This is our bust.
Fuck, you said it was locked. You said.
It's Mom. Mom.
Now confirming 2 victims of tonight's attack, including an officer who's been rushed to hospital in critical condition. Reports from neighbors describe the other victim having regained consciousness on scene, but sustaining serious injuries to his right hand, leading us all to ask if this is yet another act of violence perpetrated by Sterling City's own vigilante. Sterling PD, of course, has been
Have born, have born, have and born and 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 have and born. Have and born.